Number 15. Spooky anti-piracy. It's no secret that games companies will go to ridiculous lengths to stop piracy. But when this literal child used piracy to hack Plunder Patrol support into Yu-Gi-Oh!, games company Konami acted swiftly. They responded by never printing an Earth and Wind ship ever. Will Blade Yu-Gi-Oh!'s pirated card be enough to make this deck playable? Good afternoon, Jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-Minute Testing. Sorry, I know I'm not Blade Yu-Gi-Oh!, and I apologize, sir, for challenging your unquestioned dominion of the seas. But Plunder's just got some new support, and I thought we could break bread together and overdose on copium, one captain to another.
I am the ultimate Plunder Patrol god!
So here's the list, and the good news is that the deck pretty much builds itself. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck has a deck builder, pack opener, card database, and a wealth of strategy articles. It's also where I post the Chalice Line monthly deck breakdowns, so give it a look at www.ygoprodeck.com. So with that, let's poke around with Plunder. Plunder Patrol is a series of pirates or Vikings, depending on who you're asking, with a mind-boggling gimmick. Their starters, Whitebeard, Redbeard, and Blackbeard, can all summon a Plunder Patrol monster from your extra deck with the same attribute as a monster on your opponent's side of the field or in their graveyard. This is pretty bad as far as archetype gimmicks go. Requiring your opponent to commit before you can accomplish anything is not ideal. Even less ideal is that your plays are entirely conditioned on the specific attribute of monsters your opponent is summoning, which is great news if they're on Code Talker, and fucking abysmal news if they're on Virtual World. That said, their individual card quality kind of makes up for their miserable gimmick. Your opponent's gotta commit eventually, and when they do, you've got 3 different quick effect monsters to get tagging. What's more, if they refuse to contribute to a certain attribute of monster, you can use Plunder Patrol Booty to both modify the attribute of your opponent's monsters and summon a tag-out monster from the graveyard. Worst case scenario, if they just keep passing, you can use Emblem of the Plunder Patrol to turn one of your own monsters into a ship of your choice. So problem solved, right? We've isolated their terrible gimmick, printed cards accordingly, and now all is beaches and cream and quick effects that materialize boats out of thin air. Plunder Patrol Tier 0! Best deck, baby! Well, not exactly. See, while people like to blame Plunder's blunders on their laughable gimmick, what loses these pesky pirates games is, well, the inexorable passage of time. In order to activate a significant number of their cards, you need to discard one. In order to fire the ship's effects, you need to be holding a Plunder card in your hand. In order to make Blackbeard, you need 2 materials on your side of the field. These are all non-issues, provided you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2015, but in 2021... it's a tall order to resolve every single part of your resource-intensive combo and keep a super specific card in your hand at the same time. As a result, many Plunder games are lost not because your opponent doesn't play Chaos typing, but because you ran out of cards, and Dragon Link draws 84 of those a turn. To resolve this, Plunder's gone through many different iterations. Early on, people splashed Kaiju to get the typings that they wanted, but as it turns out, playing cards that aren't Plunders is not a great idea. Next, people tried to build combo boards with Hauka Fibrax that summoned Queriandriax on your opponent's turn, but being a worse combo deck than Dragon Link while losing to all the same stuff isn't a great spot for any strategy. Finally, they settled on extenders like Water Spirit and Silent Angler in order to make Bahamut Shark and Totally Awesome. After negation, you can add a Plunder Patrol back to hand, mitigating the deck's biggest weakness. Despite this, the deck could never keep up. Until Raven. I'll let Blade take this one.
Oh my god, this card is crazy good!
That's right, Raven is one of the very few pieces of legacy support that is exactly what the deck is missing. It summons itself, meaning it's easier to make Blackbeard. It adds a plunder from your graveyard to your hand, which means your ships are officially online. It's a name, so it's even fine in multiples as ship fodder. Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss. This is crazy for the archetype. I guess the only thing left is to see if it's competitive with meta. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First, Ravenwing. This is just so fantastic. You can target a Plunder Patrol in your graveyard, except Ravenwing. It Xeno locks you, and then you special summon the Ravenwing, adding the Plunder Patrol you targeted back to your hand. Now, you have to do this at the end of your turn, because you're not going to be able to summon Bahamut Shark afterwards, but if you can manage a Bahamut Shark before this card, Bahamut Shark plus Ravenwing is a fantastic way to get to Blackbeard, and usually ends with a Toad on the field as well. It's got a second effect also. If it's sent from the hand or monster zone to the graveyard, you can target a Plunder Patrol monster card in your spell trap and special summon it in defense. Doesn't come up as frequently, but is something to keep in mind. Next up is Whitebeard, the best card in the archetype. It has the same effect as Redbeard. During your opponent's turn, you can special summon a Plunder Patrol monster from your extra with the same attribute as a monster your opponent controls or in the graveyard, but if this card is sent from the monster zone or the hand to the graveyard, you can special a Plunder Patrol from deck. This is a really great way not only to get your combo started, but also to pitch on your opponent's turn for the effect of a ship and go into our next card, Redbeard. This card has the same effect. As a quick effect, special summon a Plunder Patrol monster from your extra deck, equip this card to it, and its extra effect is if it is sent from the hand or monster zone to the graveyard, you can equip it to a Plunder Patrol you control. A lot of the time you're doing something like hard making a Mowork or a Bran. Those effects are only quick if a Plunder Patrol monster is equipped to them. So oftentimes you're going to be pitching Redbeard in main phase 2 for something like a Plunder Patrol Shipyard in order to keep them perpetually online. Next up is Plunder Patrol Bluebeard. This card is only okay, but because it's a name, we are playing 3. It's a free special from the hand if you control a Plunder Patrol monster. It doesn't Xeno lock you. Great way to make Bahamut Shark. Finally, we have Golden Hair, the newest Plunder Patrol. This is a weird one and also no longer correct. This is not the newest Plunder Patrol. Anyway, you can send a Plunder Patrol monster card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon this from your hand. This does not Xeno lock you, and you can summon it from the graveyard by pitching any card. This does Xeno lock you. It's frustrating to keep track of, but a very good card in general. You can normal summon this card, go into Almirage, and then pitch a card from your hand in order to make a quick Blackbeard if you have nothing else going for you. We've got 3 copies of Nibiru. This is a pretty good card for the deck. Obviously, it sucks to blow up your own board, so you don't want to be keeping it in when you're going first, but it gives your opponent a light monster, and the light Plunder Patrol is one of the better ones, so a hand trap that stops their plays and fills up their board is exactly what we're looking for, and Psyframe Gear Gamma is just generally quite strong. For spells, we're on 3 Pot of Desires. I want to be playing Prosperity so badly, but you need the extra card. You simply cannot get away with it. We've got 1 copy of Plunder Patrol Ships Shipping. This is not a fantastic card. It is a name, and it does have a graveyard effect, so it's fine to play one of. You can search it with something like Plunder Patrol Shipyard if you have everything else you want, and then pitch it with the ships to float into additional stuff. You can find it off of the ships that add a card from your deck to your hand. It's just a really good card to be discarding, and a horrid card to draw. We've got Terraforming, we've got Foolish Burial. Terraforming for the Shipyard, Foolish Burial for the Golden Hair, Triple Forbidden Droplet. You really don't want to ever be activating this card, but I can't think of a better one. Maybe Dark Ruler no more, but I want something a little more flexible than that. I guess Impermanence probably competes with this slot, and if you're looking to make your deck a little more budget, that's definitely what I'd play here. We've got 3 copies of Emblem of the Plunder Patrol as well, followed by 3 copies of Shipyard and 3 copies of Booty. I can't believe people are playing this at 2. I understand it's searchable, but you really want to see this, and multiples of any Plunder Patrol card just means more fodder for your ships. Let's go there now. The extra has 3 copies of Plunder Patrol Ship Liss. This is the light monster, chaos typing of course, extremely good, and during the main phase you get to specially Plunder Patrol monster card from your hand or face up spell and trap zone. Usually what this means is you're going to make Liss by using Blackbeard's effect, then summon the Blackbeard back with Liss. Liss negates monster effects, which is unbelievable, but only cycles if you are able to destroy the card that you negate. As a result, it is often a sink in terms of advantage. Plunder Patrol ship Bran pops spell traps, banishes them rather, and cycles as well. It also makes your monsters beefier, which is actually pretty important for assembling lethal. Bahamut Shark and Totally Awesome are in here, as well as 2 copies of Mowork. Mowork has the Ding Girsu protection effect, but it can only be activated if you have material under it. Usually you're cheating out this monster, and for that reason its protection effect is often online, but you do want to be thinking about potentially hard Xyz summoning this card if you have the extenders to do so. It's just generally quite strong to keep on your side of the field. In terms of generic link stuff, we've got Unicorn and Access Code. On turns 2 and 3, it's actually pretty easy before the Xenolock to get to something like this. 3 copies of Blackbeard and 1 Almirage. Extra deck space is extremely tight. You maybe can shave a list, but outside of that, it's starting to get sus. So with that, let's get into the games. Our first match is up against Fire Fist Tri-Brigade, and I'll be real with you, I am just showing off this match because it's cool as hell. I like that people are kind of circling the drain on what the best Tri-Brigade deck is, and this one looks pretty powerful. Our opponent's going first, but we have a ton of hand traps. They're going to go into Kit and then trigger the effect of Kit to send a Nerval, triggering the Nerval for a Karos. They'll activate the effect of the Karos, pitching the Ritual Fire Fist in order to activate Karos' effect for 2, and go into Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Eagle. This card is insane. Next, they're going to go into Rooster, activate Rooster's effect in order to get a Tanky, then trigger Tanky, so they can add from deck to hand a copy of Dragon. They'll activate the effect of Eagle and send a copy of Buffalo to the graveyard before link summoning a Flaget and getting that Dragon out. They'll trigger Dragon to bring back the Rooster, and then trigger Rooster in order to add another Fire Fist to hand. They're going to activate the effect of Rooster to get Liang Peak, and I imagine we'll see the largest potential activation of that possible. They'll activate Buffalo because they have Eagle, they don't have to do anything for it, and they'll activate the effect of Tiger King as well. They've set both a copy of Sinto and a copy of Domei. They'll activate the effect of Bear, targeting the Tiger King, which will trigger the Tiger King and get a Dragon and a Dragon from deck. From here, they can make an Appaloosa, and Dragon can bring back the Tiger King. Why is this okay? Afterwards, they'll activate Dragon's effect in order to bring back this copy of Bear. If this deck was slightly less expensive, I think a lot of people would be playing it. They'll go for Tiger once again and then trigger the effect of Bear. A hard once per turn on any of these, please. They're going to bring out a Zodiac Thoroughblade. There's Zeus in here, too? They're going to go for Tiger King and activate the effect of Tiger King, setting another Sinto before going into Chalkadine and Dryden. They'll trigger Dryden in order to destroy the Tiger King, and then they'll trigger the effect of Tiger King in order to get an Elephant and an Elephant. After that, they're going to go into a Shrike and trigger the effect of Liang Peak. Liang Peak is going to special summon a Tamer Editor, and now's my chance. Before they get out a Domidianus, I am going to fire off the Nibiru, and they're going to chain the effect of Appaloosa, prompting this Gamma from me. I can't beat 2 negations. Speaking of things I can't beat, how am I going to out this token? We're going to go for Golden Hair. We'll trigger the effect of Whitebeard as well. That's going to summon a copy of Redbeard, and we have the entire rotation. We're going to go for Blackbeard here. We'll go into Mowork, and we'll banish the token. Just kidding, you can't banish tokens. Instead, we'll have to link it to another Blackbeard and end. Oh boy, my Ruling's Nightmare come to roost. My opponent's going to go for Domei. We're going to activate the effect of Booty. I call Divine because I'm like, they have every attribute, right? They've been through their entire extra deck. Turns out they do not have a light one, so I have cut myself off of light access, but other than that, we're still fine. We'll go for Tensu and for Bear. We're going to trigger the effect of Captain, and they are going to called by the Captain we have in the graveyard. God dang it. Okay, no big deal. They're going to activate Tanky here in order to get a Spirit. They'll Tensu out the Spirit, which is a very powerful card. They will special summon back the Rooster. They've got a lot of material, but not a lot left in the extra deck. They'll go into an Eagle, and I think, okay, now it is time to stop that. We're going to go into a Mowork using our Whitebeard and then activate Mowork's effect to banish that card. We'll activate the effect of Whitebeard as well to get a Redbeard. We still have that tag out. They're going to go into Peacock. They're going to activate Liang Peak in order to grab themselves a copy of Fractal. We're going to activate the effect of Redbeard here to go into Bran. They're going to activate Fractal for 3. Happy to not see another Shrike here. They're going to go for a Rugal, and unfortunately for them, this token can't attack this turn. So while they can get over one of our monsters, they can't get over all of them. We draw, an emblem. That's nice. So we're going to activate the effect of Mowork in order to banish this Rugal. They'll chain it. We'll add a Shipyard, then activate Booty, targeting their Fractal for a water so we can bring back this copy of Captain and link away for a Unicorn before we Xenolock ourselves with this Ravenwing. Okay, no more token. From here we should be fine. We're going to activate the Graveyard effect of Whitebeard in order to get a Redbeard, and then we can send those to the graveyard for a Captain. That Captain's effect is still negated. Thank you, Called by the Grave, but we can go to the battle phase and get over mostly everything. We leave them the Peacock, but no big deal. We can always banish that at our earliest convenience. They'll Reborn, and this gets pretty crusty. They're going to go for Shrike, so we're going to chain the effect of Redbeard, then chain the effect of Booty to make their Peacock white and get the monster effect negator so they can't activate the effect of Shrike on activation. They'll go for Rooster, or Peacock rather, instead, and we'll will go ahead and negate it with Liss. This leaves us open to a strike effect, which they will activate at their earliest convenience, but not too big of a deal. As they activate it, we will cycle both our Liss effect and our Bran effect after resolution. They'll banish the Liss, we'll activate Bran, we'll send this Ravenwing to the graveyard for a Bluebeard, then trigger the Ravenwing so we can summon back the Whitebeard. They'll pass back to us and hop, skip, and a jump to lethal from this position. We'll activate the effect of Bran and get rid of the Shinto. Got nothing out of that card, huh? We'll go for access code Talker here. We get to pop the entire field if we so desire. They'll activate the effect of Shrike, getting a Wolf Bark of all things, but I don't think they're going to have a chance to summon it. We'll activate the effect of Blackbeard in order to go into Liss and tag it out. We'll go for Ravenwing as well, so we can put that Mowork back in our extra and then make it, banishing our opponent's last monster. From here, we just have to assemble Shipyard lethal, and we should be able to do it just by using Shipyard in order to put the booty back into the hand, and then equipping our remaining monster with an emblem. This was a long and hard road, but finally, the Vikings have reigned supreme. Our second match is up against Orcust Eldritch, a sincerely weird deck that I'm very happy is seeing a lot of play. This is a strange game. We're going to start with a copy of Terraforming, and then we'll activate Pot of Desires. We draw another Nibiru, but no big deal. We're going to pitch it for the Shipyard and use it to get a copy of Whitebeard. We'll normal the Whitebeard, and while this is the Bahamut line, I like to do something just a little bit different here. We're going to go for the effect of Bluebeard and Whitebeard, so we get a Redbeard to our side of the field. Then we can Ravenwing back the Whitebeard to our hand and overlay for a Mowork. This prevents our opponent from just straight up destroying our Blackbeard before they do anything. Unfortunately, Eldritch doesn't destroy, he sends. They'll go for Cursed Eldland to get a copy of Eldritch to hand. They'll activate Eldritch. We'll activate the effect of Bluebeard, and they will Forbidden Droplet for 2, one of which is the Orcust Crescendo. What an unbelievable blowout. They'll negate all of our monsters' effects, then activate the effect of Cursed Eldland, normal summoning a Gearsu. They'll activate Gearsu's effect, sending a Symbol Skeleton. They'll activate the Graveyard effect of Nightmare, then the effect of Wand that they get off the Nightmare to make a Galatea. They'll go into a Dingirsu, activate Dingirsu's effect to send a card to Graveyard. They elect to send the Mowork, and then activate the effect of the Scherzo Skeleton in Graveyard to bring back Gearsu. They'll attack directly for a ton of damage, then in main phase 2 go for a Galatea, and unfortunately for them, that's 5th summon, so we'll make Nibiru, they'll set 2 and activate the effect of Hakero at end step. So it's going to be hard to assemble lethal here, but we can probably put ourselves in a winning position. We'll activate Shipyard, they will Cosmic Cyclone it, no big deal. What we really wanted to do was discard this Whitebeard, which we still got to. We'll get a copy of Bluebeard and then normal summon a copy of Goldenhair. We'll activate the effect of the Blackbeard, which allows us to go into Liss. Then we'll activate the effect of Liss in order to special summon back the Blackbeard to push. We'll go to the battle phase and get in for almost lethal, 1200 off, before setting a Forbidden Droplet and passing back to our opponent, who's Scarlet Sanguines, and well, God, we almost had this one. They'll go for Scarlet Sanguine in order to set a copy of Conquistador, then activate Eldritch's effect, summoning it. They'll activate the Graveyard effect of Orcust Nightmare in order to increase its attack to 39. Then normal summon a Gearsu, send a copy of Orcust Nightmare, and get in for 150 over lethal. Oh, pain. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. This is a very crusty hand from us and showcases one of the deck's biggest weaknesses, Ash Blossom. We're going to activate the effect of Shipyard pitching a Whitebeard. They Ash Blossom, which is terrible. Afterwards, we're going to trigger the effect of Whitebeard in order to get a copy of Redbeard. We'll set a copy of Booty, and it's not the worst thing in the world. We'll pass back to our opponent, who's going to activate Fossil Dig for Miscellaneous Source. So the thing with Booty is you have to be able to target an opponent's monster to summon a monster from the graveyard. So because Miscellaneous Source makes their monsters unaffected, the and if you do, from the effect of Booty isn't going to be able to trigger. They're going to go for the effect of Archosaur, pitching a copy of Baby Ceresaurus, then cycling it out with Soul Eating Oviraptor, and there he is, baby, the Leov Lad. They'll activate the effect of Scrap Raptor, targeting itself. As it's destroyed, they will get a copy of Scrap Chimera, and then normal summon it with their second normal. We'll Booty here because Scrap Chimera is in fact not a dinosaur, it's a beast, so we can bring back our copy of Whitebeard, and they'll make Dolka. That's terrible news. They'll go into Link Haribo, followed by a Scrap Wyvern. We'll activate the effect of White for Dolka. We'll activate White, and we really needed them to Dolka again, but they don't. We'll Redbeard. That at least fiends the remainder of the Dolka, but still kind of rough. We can equip the Redbeard to our Goldenhair, which is funny if nothing else. They'll go for Scrap Wyvern and destroy our Booty, and then afterwards they're going to make a Unicorn, trigger the effect of Unicorn, go into an access code Talker, and I'm sorry, I'm just really falling asleep here. They'll go into an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, trigger the effect of Giant Rex, proceed to the battle phase, and get in for lethal. Let's go to game 2. So it's time for game 2, and what a miserable hand. Oh, God. Psyframe Driver, double Booty. Well, we still might be able to make it work. We're going to normal summon a copy of Goldhair. We'll go into an Almirage. We'll trigger Goldhair, pitching this Whitebeard, and triggering the effect of Whitebeard. They have the Ash Blossom. Okay, at least we can make Blackbeard instead of Booty. That's probably good enough. We'll pass back to our opponents. They're going to lead with a copy of Pot of Prosperity. Finding off the top, the Scrappy Boy. Next card. All right, no big deal. They're going to grab that, and then they're going to activate Lost World. We'll Blackbeard here. They're going to Ash! You can Ash Blackbeard. Okay, no big deal. They're going to normal summon a copy of Scrap Raptor. Before we get the token, we're going to activate the effect of Booty, targeting the Scrap Raptor, making it light. We'll go into a Whitebeard, then activate the effect of Whitebeard in order to go into List. This threatens the activation of their Scrap Raptor. Instead, they'll go to Battle Phase and use the effect of Baby Ceresaurus in Graveyard, which we still can negate because List negates activations. Unfortunately, we don't destroy it, so we don't get to cycle, but you know, whatever. They'll go from Scrap Raptor into a Scrap Chimera. They'll activate Chimera, bringing back the Scrap Raptor, and then Link summon the Scrap Wyvern. We'll List here in order to summon back the Whitebeard. They'll Wyvern in order to summon back their Scrap Raptor. It'll be destroyed, then they'll activate Wyvern to go into another Scrap Raptor, sending our copy of Blackbeard to the graveyard and making Unicorn, but they don't have another extender, so this is the end of their turn. We draw for turn, and we should be able to clean up from here. We'll go into another Blackbeard, then activate the effect of Booty. We're going to bring back this Blackbeard, then activate Blackbeard in order to go into a Bran. We can use Bran's effect in order to cycle this Lost World, and I think this is lethal, actually. We'll use Bluebeard's effect, and then follow it up with a copy of Raven. We'll special summon this Bluebeard from our hand, because we have not yet, before going to Mowork, and activating Mowork's effect in order to both get rid of this Unicorn and cycle into a Shipyard. We'll activate Shipyard, and I don't know if this is lethal yet, but it certainly will be after we activate Shipyard and get another continuous spell to our side of the field. 36, 35, 4K, let's go to game 3. So it's time for that all-important game 3, and Scrap Raptor, Misk, Fossil Dig, come on, one time! Alright, they're going to lead with the Prosperity, and oh yeah, we needed the Lost World too. Alright, well now we have everything. Lost World into Scrap Raptor. We'll activate the effect of Lost World in order to get a token to our side of the field. Next, we'll activate the effect of Scrap Raptor in order to add from our deck to our hand a copy of Chimera. We're going to normal summon this copy of Chimera, then activate its effect to bring back the Scrap Raptor. We'll go ahead and Link summon a Scrap Wyvern, activate its effect, bringing back the Scrap Raptor, and then destroying the copy of the egg, which will translate into a Baby Ceresaurus, which will turn into an Oviraptor, which will trigger in order to get a copy of a baby to hand. Then we can activate Oviraptor, targeting the token to bring back the baby, to activate Miscellaneousaurus to get a copy of Animadorned Archosaur from deck. To activate Archosaur to send this copy of baby to the graveyard. This is getting so absolutely banned. They're going for Giant Rex, they're going for Linkuriboh, they're going for Borlo. Hold up. Aren't you supposed to have Link monsters in your graveyard? Okay, saved. They were able to go into Appaloosa plus Adolka. Okay, well, because of their misplay here, oh, right on time, by the way, Nibiru, we can probably play through this. We're going to go for a Forbidden Droplet in order to negate everything that might do something. We'll bring back this copy of Golden Hair, normal summon another one to go into Blackbeard. We'll activate Blackbeard's effect. That's going to get us a copy of Mowork. We'll activate Mowork's effect, pitching this copy of Redbeard in order to get that sucker off the field, and then activating Redbeard. Next, we'll activate Shipyard. That puts it to 15, and then we'll activate Shipyard in order to get a copy of Ravenwing. We'll activate Ravenwing's effect. We'll summon it and add the Golden Hair back to hand, and we can clear the field here. It's just a question of if that's going to be enough. We've got a Banish, but I think that's it. They're going to go for an Animadorned Archosaur. They're going to trigger Lost World. Before we can not target, we'll go for the Mowork, and they will chain the Linkuriboh in Graveyard. Damn it. Okay, we get a token, and this is probably the end of the game. They're going to go for the Baby Ceresaurus in order to summon a Soul Eating Oviraptor from deck, and then afterwards going to trigger the Soul Eating Oviraptor for an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, which they will Evo Pill out. Come on. They'll go for the Giant Rex afterwards, and then activate Fossil Dig in order to get from deck to hand a copy of Petit Pteranodon. They'll activate UCT in order to set our entire field face down, then Petit Pteranodon for a Miscellaneousaurus. They'll go into a Pensatag, they'll go into a Nightmare Unicorn, they're going to go into an Access Code Talker. That's very slightly less than lethal thanks to the effect of Lost World until I see the Miscellaneousaurus for 4. They'll go to the battle phase, attack over our defense position monsters for 3,000 points of damage, attack directly with this Access Code Talker for 48, and then clean up the remaining 2 with a Soul Eating Oviraptor. Very back and forth, but Scrap Raptor reigns supreme. So we're back with the deck, and man, I feel like those games, while good, weren't super characteristic of the deck's potential. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, Ravenwing is absolutely bonkers. It's just as good as I thought it was. It's everything the deck needed, and it is endlessly searchable. 2, you really only need the one turn. This has always been a strength of Plunder, but if you can turn the corner once, the field spell makes lethal laughably easily. And 3, it's endlessly adaptable. It's got lines to negate, to banish, and to hit back row, and all of them replenish themselves. And the cons. 1, this deck is really hard to play. You have to be operating on quadruple-digit IQ levels to manage your effects every turn, and you're given next to no leeway to screw up. This thing is not forgiving. 2, this deck has a miserable weakness to, Ash Blossom, of all things. Since all the ships add a card from your deck to your hand on resolution, their destruction, banishing, and negation can all be stopped by an Ash. Smart opponents can protect what they want with a card they're already playing. And 3, I'm just not Blade. I know I'd be winning more if I was an 18-year-old Rant Sona. All in all, the deck is clearly good, though I'd give it a little bit more time before I say anything too definitive about its power level. So that's that. As always, thanks to my patrons Dominic Ernst, Hakuo, AJBYGO, Alex Perea, BB Poison, Blue Fanfiction Inc., Caleb Jassa, Chibi Gohan, Connor Kidd, Crispy, Dimsum05, Dubs Rewatcher, Frosty, Jack Sack PhD, King Magic Ruler, Night Mary, Kylie Denton, Major Rusty, Matt, Mike Carlotti, Phoenix Strix, Rocky Hernandez, Rose Lapine, Sarah Rutledge, Seeker, Space Dandy 1993, Adam Trevino, Adrian Bra, Amida Lafandi, Alex Dominguez, Alfred Hendricks, Amaranta V, Andrew Benson, Andrew Ferruia, Andrew Horseman, Apex TCG, Ballin Stalin, Based Madoka, Billy Williams, Blake Root, Blair, Brandon Keys, Candide, Captain Breadbeard, Chad Bortz, Chad Weatherington, Chorps Away, CJ Alex, Cole Chulian, Control for the Win, Crystal Red Fox, Cubic is the best deck. We will see. Daffy Deathclock, Dan the Man Hoban, Danny Guadalupe, Darcy Tevs, Dive Missile, Dogma, Dominic Chris, Doug Parslow, Dr. Batman, Dying Eyes, Distrin, Emperor Stove, Ernesto Ibarra, Fighting Fangwong, Fisker Whiskers, FUTR, Game of Wolf, Gavin K, Hank Cheesecake, Helios the Helios, Haroof, How to Lose, Josemina, Isaac Jackson, Jane Linya, Jason Leonard, Jay Gordon, Jeff Leonard, Jonathan Wallace, Jupe, Jose Luis Cortez, Joy or John, Juliet Chulian, Callie Corey Hess, Koro Kaze, Lake Bayer, Lawrence Lightsworn Gorgon, Lottie, Lovro Plesse, Lucas Engels, Lucas Geerdes, Lucas Arizzo Hansen, Major Duncan Malleus, Matthew Taylor, Max Meadow Edits, Mezzo Emrys, Michael Oskvark, Miles Edgelord, Mimes Are Creepy, Miska Aronin, Miyuna Arashi, Nicholas Alexander, Nick Extreme 99, Nero Soup, Nitro Skull, Nix Dolores, No Penguin, Omase, One Glad Morning, Austrin, Papa Dragonite, Par 2, Picnic Blasted, Precise Spike 13, Pro FB2, Sam Pity, Sam Soon, Sapphic Ashley, Scrafted, Sean Deal, Sean Flynn, Sendoria, Standards Objective, Swinkles, Tate Rosencutter, The Carl Moxley, The Saucy Pickle, This Machine 237, Thought Auditor, TJ Steakhouse, Yuri's Best, Oli, Bjarki, Austfioro, and Yukie. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing, and if you want to be part of the process, follow me on Twitch as well. See you next time.